Hi everyone, welcome back to our channel. Donita here and Edyta.
Hello.
And today we have a wonderful guest, and her name is Damla Aktekin. Hi, Damla.
Hello.
Hi. A little bit about Damla. Through her healing journey, Damla discovered many unique ways to heal herself and her life. And now she helps others move beyond the energetic wounds of their inner children and shine brighter than they thought possible so that they can fully show up in their lives to heal themselves, their families, and their soul communities. How wonderful. So, Damla, would you like to tell us a little bit how did it all begin? How did it
Yeah.
all start?
Um, I tell people it hasn't been that I was born and I knew that I wanted to be a healer or a crystal healing teacher or a writer, but it sort of evolved. I actually started my professional journey in the business world. I studied engineering and then I did my MBA. I found myself in business consulting. And about a little bit into it, I ran into a huge health issue. Basically, I found myself in the emergency room with a lot of pain in my head, which was the point when my migraines started. But that was an indication to me to change things in my life. And at that point, I didn't know it, but I had pretty much existed in my head. And she wasn't taking it anymore. She was in pain. And I said, okay, what do I do here? And that's when yoga sort of appeared on my path. In yoga, at first, I didn't like. I went to my very first yoga class and I was like, how do people get on these mats? The smelly mats. But something shifted in that first yoga class and I kept coming back. And that I call the part where I discovered that I wasn't just in my head, I discovered that I had a body. And I poured myself completely into the world of yoga. I became a full-time yoga teacher, I became a yoga studio manager, and lots of certifications and lots of books and reading. I truly enjoyed the philosophy part of it too. And in 2012, I gave birth to my daughter through emergency C-section. And that was the moment when I switched to another level where, as I said, I used to exist in the head, I used to exist in the body, but it was such a hard time for me the first few years of motherhood. Yoga wasn't working anymore. I wasn't able to feel connected to myself or to life. And I needed to redefine my relationship, redefine my healing and what it all meant for me. And that's when mantras entered my life and crystal healing, as well as EFT tapping, all the things now when I look back that are about vibrational healing, about the quantum world. So the path that I was on was teaching me like you're not just your mind, you're not just your physical body, there's more beyond. And that is where I exist now. Specifically with crystal healing, it entered into my life, as I said, as a early stages in the early stages of my being a mom, becoming a mom. And I had no time to study, memorize, and go into dogma. So I kind of devised my own way of intuitively connecting with crystals. And that deepened and deepened. I started to offer it to others in my family first, and then to the people outside of my family, to groups. And that evolved into now what I do is through partnership with crystals. I still teach and offer crystal healings, and I show people how they can deepen their relationships with crystals. And it has evolved for me into the realm of inner child healing, which is interesting to me because it's this first I had to go into this wider understanding of what am I, what is the world, what is life. I had to go into the quantum, timeless, spaceless view. And with that, with the inner children, it's almost like life is bringing me back to the body and the mind together. So it's been a wonderful journey and it's still continuing.
Wow.
Beautiful story.
Ama- Amazing.
Amazing.
Amazing. 2012. Yes, that's where everything began deeper, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it does. For me, motherhood has been a catalyst. I feel that I've always been intuitive, but there was something about being pregnant that deepened it. There was definitely something about diving into the world of crystals and crystal healing that deepened it. So along the journey, I discovered that I'm clairaudient, clairvoyant, clairsentient, and that led me to look deeper into those arts of the quantum world, astrology, tarot, and I even went back to my roots. I grew up in Turkey, so I now offer Turkish coffee readings, which I feel my ancestors are strongly present in those. And with even with astrology, it's less based on cliche, but more on what I receive as messages, as images, specific and unique to each person. So yeah.
I am.
We were
We're
we were
both very
both
curious about
the
the
Turkish.
Turkish coffee and the leaf tea. Can you please?
Yes.
Because
Yes.
tarot
We
people know
yeah.
tarot, people know
Yes.
oracles.
We were reading your information. It's like, wow, Turkish coffee. We would
Please
love
do
to.
tell more.
Yes.
What?
Because this is so intuitive. You need to use your intuition fully to be able to read that.
Yeah, I mean, around the time that I started on this journey when I became a mom, I said, okay, like there was a decision for before the birth of my daughter where I chose to go to this particular doctor's office, this particular hospital, but it never felt right. It never felt right to me. Um, and I was afraid, I was scared, so I didn't listen. So in the aftermath of that, the decision and the intention and the dedication that I put out into the universe was, okay, I will listen now for every single thing. So the Turkish coffee has been, the coffee reading has been in my life forever, is, I mean, for as long as I've known myself to be alive. For people who don't know, Turkish coffee is brewed and it's not filtered. It has a little bit of very smooth coffee grains in it, and you drink it in like an espresso cup. It's a small cup. So once you finish the liquid part, there are coffee grains left at the bottom. And there's a way that you put your saucer on top, the plate on top, and then you flip it over with the intention of whatever needs to be seen to be seen. So for me, um, for me, it starts, I do these readings online now. You know, every once in a while, if it's for a friend or a family, I might do it in person, but because all my offerings are online and because I want them to be accessible, I do coffee, and there's a lot of care and gentleness that goes into it. And I start to get messages as I'm brewing. Um, and and people tell me like, how does it even happen? To be perfectly honest, again, I feel like my grandmother used to read coffee. My mom used to read coffee, and it just I never questioned it. It was just something you did. At the end of the meal, you would drink your coffee, you would turn it upside down, and then you would look up. And it starts with, for the beginners, it may start with maybe seeing pictures and and like certain shapes or symbols, but for me it's more the feeling. As I said, as I'm mixing your coffee, I get the feeling. As I place the saucer on top of it, I get the feeling, and I get messages for you. And they're very strong. I think the difference is, like with tarot, when I'm reading tarot, it's a lot more subtle. It's maybe even a little bit gentler, but with Turkish coffee, my ancestors come in very strongly, and they're like, da, 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 this and this and this, like you need to be aware of, this is what you need to do, and this is what's happening behind the scenes and in your subconscious. So it's very strong and very to the point. So even in like a 15-minute reading, people can get a lot out of it. And the tea leaf part is, I have not been trained in it. What happened is I went into this astrology training, and there was this old wise woman there. Beautiful, beautiful person. And she said, Damla, do you read the tea leaves? Because of course they didn't have Turkish coffee. And I said, I've never done it. And she pinned me down with her tea leaves. She just drank a tea and then put the tea leaves on her plate, I guess, on her little cup. And I sat down with her and I read. And she said I was 99% accurate in my reading. So that's how I found out that I could read tea leaves, which to me is very similar to the Turkish coffee reading, because it's really not about what's on the plate. It's opening a channel. It's the consent of the two people to reach into the soul realms and bring in the information that would be for their highest benefit and highest soul growth. And it just flows. I mean, I don't know any other way to explain it other than when you're open to it, it just flows.
What kind of tea leaves? Do they have to be specific?
That's the thing. I mean, similar to what I teach in crystal healing, um, it's less about what, but it's more about your intention. It's more about the how. As I was explaining, like how you brew the coffee. For me as a healer, I brew it as a certain way. Like I don't brew it like 3 days in advance. I might brew it like an hour before, because I know if I do it, I'll be getting messages for 3 days in a row for you. So it's like me brewing the coffee is me opening up the channel, if that makes sense. And I'm a believer in strong boundaries with that. Like I open the doors and then I close the doors because we're done. And I always say, like, I don't need to know more than what that person needs to receive. So being the channel. So in short, I don't believe that you need specific tea leaves for this. But again, the way I came to this is very organic, very like just life pointing me in that direction kind of a way. There may be another, I don't know, Chinese or Asian or Polish tradition that does it differently, but I just do it my way and it works.
Oh, that's so intriguing. That's so much fun. That sounds wonderful.
I think when we unleash our intuitions, the magic will happen. Would you tell us more about the inner child work you do? Because this is beautiful and really interesting
Yeah.
topic.
Yeah. So in 2022, I went to Egypt as a pilgrimage with a group of spiritual women in December 2022. And before I decided to go there, I hadn't even, like, it wasn't on my list of things to do. I didn't, have an ideal to go to Egypt. But all of a sudden, I started to see Egypt everywhere in 2021, like, you know how it happens sometimes, like something just comes in, drops in. And around that time, before I even considered going to Egypt, I had a dream. So in my dream, it's nighttime. I'm in Egypt by the Great Pyramid. And it's this beautiful, gorgeous night sky. I'm looking up and I see all the stars. And I can't believe how they're shining, how beautiful they are. And there are people walking by. And I keep telling them, look at the stars, look at the beauty, look at the shine. And some of them listen to me and look up, and some of them just pass me by. And I woke up knowing I was looking at the realm of the inner children. That was around the time also when I began to realize more and more what was happening in my crystal healing sessions were more about inner child healing, because we would come into a point in the body and I would say, okay, this feeling, this sensation, how long has it been there? How old is it? And the person would say, like, it's from when I was 5 years old. Or they would say it's as old as time. And that's how I would know it might have been an ancestral wound and so on. So with the dream, I woke up and I realized, okay, I was shown the realm of the inner children. In this night sky, all the little quantum potentials of all the timelines, lifetimes, past, parallel, future, ancestral lifetimes, and the inner children of the ancestors, inner children of the past, parallel, future lives, all of these potentials living here in the inner night sky, the night sky being underneath the skin. The night sky is the body. And I said, whoa. So what I had been using as a language up until that point was energetic wounds for anything that leaves a mark in your body, in your energy field, in your emotional system. But the dream was so clear. It was like the wounds are like the clouds that come in, but they cannot affect your potential. So the inner children are not broken. Inner children are not wounded. Inner children are the sparks of life that are waiting for you to awaken and activate and discover. So then later in 2022, I got to go to the Great Pyramid and I got to stand by it by the night and in the nighttime and see the night sky. That was a great blessing for me and sort of a confirmation of, okay, this is something to explore. This is something to deepen into.
Wow.
That's a very significant dream.
I know, that's very significant. I'm so happy that you actually listen and you continuing to listen, right?
I do. Interestingly, another friend pointed out to me, I hadn't thought of the dream this way, but she said, Damla, do you realize that's what you're doing with astrology as well? Which the kind of astrology I practice is very much about the quantum world and your soul potentials and looking at what sort of patterns and potentials you bring into this world or probabilities. So in a way, it is still an exploration of the inner children through the stars, through the planets. So yeah.
Yeah, don't you find us just getting to the same, but just like astrology, whatever, it's just different languages, different modalities of your soul's journey.
There's a place for all of them. I think, as I was saying, like I do a lot of different readings and healings, but like for some people, like Turkish coffee is too strong. You know, if you're not ready to hear and take action, like tarot might be better. Or for me to tell you of your own beauty, of your own like infinite potentials through astrology might be better. I'm still going to push you around the edges and towards the, you know, towards the changing of patterns and transformation that needs to happen. But there's a place for all of those things. And I feel like, you know, a lot of people do just one thing. It just hasn't been my path in this life, at least. I've been interested in and pulled towards different things, but they come together in this realm of vibrational healing, understanding that we're all droplets of Om swimming in a sea of Om, which is the name of my website and business is A Drop of Om. So you as a drop of Om are responsible for your own vibration, for your own quantum healing, which then affects everyone around you.
So beautifully said. Well said, yes. I keep hearing the crystals. Can you tell us a little bit how, your relationship with them, and what do you teach? How do you work with them?
I teach love as opposed to like, I don't believe in the language of using a crystal, because to me, when I felt deeper into it to understand, I asked the question, okay, like I've been healing and breathing with crystals I had been healing and breathing with crystals for a long time at that point as a new mom. And people kept asking me what crystal goes where, what happens, or what for this and this thing, what crystals do I need? And the question didn't make sense to me. So I said, okay, why am I not like believing the paradigm that there's a particular crystal for a particular thing that goes to a particular place in your body? Because first of all, that had not been my experience. In my very limited time of exploring them, I didn't have time to memorize or, take what someone else may have discovered in their own journey as my own. I sort of went into it, again, very open-minded, similar to the tea leaf, perhaps. I said, okay, I have like 10 minutes. I'm just going to lie down with my crystals and see what happens. And I would feel a little bit lighter. I would feel a little bit better after each. What came to what it led to me was when I started to want to explain what I was explaining to others. As I created my online course, Crystal Healing Simplified, the first question I asked was, okay, what even is happening here? What are crystals? And they are the building blocks of the universe. They are the building blocks of our body. Our fascia is crystalline. Our fascia is piezoelectric, which means you can create an electrical charge through touch, just like a quartz crystal. Your eyes are 90% water, which water always has, even in liquid form, crystalline potentials in it. Your teeth, your bones are 65% or more minerals. And my understanding of the world is that anything that contributes to your life, your being, and not just your body, like everything you see around you, the trees, living beings, anything with a DNA is a crystalline being, because DNA is a liquid crystal. So the desk underneath your hands, whether it's made of stone or wood, is crystalline. Glass is crystalline. Metals, of course, minerals, crystalline. So what that means is you're not dealing with a thing when you hold the crystal in your hand. You're dealing with an ancestor. So whatever contributes to your life in that way, to me, is an ancestor. And when you're connecting with an ancestor, you don't say, how can I use you? What are you good for? Let me get the most juice out of you without giving you anything. That's not how you approach another vibrational being. you introduce yourself, you let them introduce themselves, just like you're doing very kindly here. You're holding space for me and for this conversation. There's also an unspoken energetic conversation happening, and they can read us and we can read them because we are made up of the same stuff. They're a little bit more coherent than us because of their solid form. We're more liquid crystals, easier to transform and easier to go into chaos, but they inform us, they show us how to be a little bit more coherent, a little bit more organized, so things can flow easier. They are very connected to each and every crystalline being and structure in the multiverse. So to me, the question of, oh, like clear quartz only goes there, only does this is it doesn't make sense, because when I think of the multidimensionality of even one little single quartz, and a single quartz is connected to each and every mineral realm in the multiverse. So it just doesn't make sense to limit them. But what does make sense to me is to approach them with love, with an open heart, with respect, with the intention of co-creation rather than dominance. So that's how I approach crystals.
Awesome.
No, we're like speechless here. We're just like absorbing it, absorbing the yumminess you are sharing with us, because you can feel them. I can feel they love you.
I mean, it's so many
There's
books
so
about crystals, and each of them has so many meanings that, like you said, Damla, it's like it's use your intuitive reading and use this one, use or work with this one that talks to you at this moment. We really don't need to know why I would love to work with this one at this point. Like at least
Exactly.
this is what I'm doing. Like I'm connected to all of them. Those black one right now, I don't know why, but I sleep with them for a few weeks already. So and I do listen and I ask them for help, and usually in the morning I have the answer.
Exactly. And you feel the answer, right? I can see that you're already in that like subtle conversation with them. And that's exactly what I'm teaching. I'm about to put finishing touches on my book. She's going to be called Crystal Healing for the Love of It, which teaches exactly that, and a little bit more on like how to reframe how you look at them, which changes everything. It changes that energetic conversation and the quality of the partnership you can have with them, and the quality of the partnership and love and relation you can have with everything around you, including yourself.
It's so
That's
interesting.
right.
That's right, but it's so fun. It's so interesting. You said your book, because I was about to ask you. I was like, when are you writing your book?
Well, she's on the desk of my editor right now. So um yeah, hopefully in a month or two, hopefully while people are listening to this, they can just go to my website and they can find out more about her. But yeah, I have been writing. One of the other things that happened in Egypt was I would go to temples, I would go into the Great Pyramid, and I actually had a spontaneous, like I was guided through a Merkaba meditation while in the King's Chamber in the Great Pyramid. And I was told everything I've ever needed is in my heart, all my projects, all my books. And I kept hearing the message over and over, like, write your book. Your book is here. Like, write your book. And I sat down and I wrote my book. So hopefully she's going to be out in the world very soon.
I look forward to reading it.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, yes.
Thanks.
And wow, it was magical. Is there anything else you'd like to share with our audience before we complete for today? Is there anything, and also
Like inspire
anything inspiring, or
other
how
people.
people can find you? You know, we're gonna add all of the information at the end. But yeah, anything else you'd like to share that you feel called to right now?
Yeah, we're living through energetically very intense times. So astrologically, Pluto is in Aquarius, and he's going to be there for a while now. And Aquarius is all about all of us, all of the airwaves, all of the community, but not just the little human community, intergalactic community. And Pluto is all about you better get things healed. And at this time, the message is more and more like you better get healed for all of us. Like I was saying, that little droplet of Om that you are is no longer optional, in my opinion, and from what I observe in the world and in myself, that you just move through life with a, how shall I say it? Like with a broken wing, with a pattern that is no longer working, um, with things you've been ignoring, with things you haven't touched upon, with the inner children you ignored, because the noise is too much, and it's just getting more and more painful to continue life with the patterns. That's what I've been feeling. I'm 45 now, but I've been feeling like it's like almost impossible to ignore the call for healing for each and every one of us. So I encourage you to hear that call and answer that call, not just for you, but for everyone. And for those of us who are healers, it's even more important because it takes a certain amount of energy to hold healing space. And if your wires are crossed, it's going to be harder and harder. You'll get burned out as a healer if you don't take care of yourself and heal your own wounds. And of course, that's an ongoing journey, but what I find is there's usually a dominant wound that's going to knock on your door, a dominant struggle, whether it's relational, financial, um, physical, emotional. You gotta answer the call and heal yourself. And if you're looking for resources for that, I offer quite a bit. I know you guys do too. You can go to my website at dropofom.com. I've been offering these free meditations for years. One of them is called Allow Life to Flow, which again helps you feel into the realm of the inner children, to the realm of the crystalline being that you are, and release some of the resistance. Releasing the resistance is important because the light potential, the healing, the channeling that we're going to be asked to hold and to deliver as healers is going to increase and increase and increase in the next couple years. So like right now, like yesterday was good, but right now is also good for healing. So get to your healing. Trust that you'll be guided and led just like we all were. And when you're led though, like you listen to this and you're like, oh, Damla feels like, if she feels like she has something for me, just take that action. You can talk to me for free for 15 minutes. You can see how this feels for you, what I offer. But then like you do a Turkish coffee reading or you do a healing with me and I tell you, okay, these are the next steps for you to take those next steps. Like it's no longer optional.
Yep.
Yep.
I think we all feel it.
Feels like
Some
you
of us
just
can point it up, some not, but it's all good.
It's
Yes.
like straight to the point. Very true. We're
Yes.
in it big
Yeah.
time. It's
Pluto is relentless right now. Pluto is like wherever he's highlighting in your chart is going to be like flames and smoke.
I have this question. You know, I'm a Gemini sun. She's a Pisces sun. What are you?
I'm Aquarius.
Ooh,
And Pluto is right on top of my Sun and my Mars together. So my Sun and Mars together, I'm a light warrior, you could say.
wow, okay. I've got Pluto in my first house, so that's, I'm feeling it in a different way.
Yeah. So what's happening just very briefly, what's happening right now is there's this dance, of course, right? It's not just Pluto, everything is changing. We had the eclipse, we have Mercury retrograde, things going in and out, but all of that is like the main big player right now is Pluto. And all of that is like Pluto in your first house might highlight like, okay, what is it about how I relate to myself that I need to look into? But then, Venus being in square with Pluto might highlight something else and so on and say like, okay, look at your relationship, other relationships a little bit too, and so on. So it's unique to everyone, but I can guarantee whoever is listening that there's some sort of like stuff coming
Plutonian love happening
coming
at
up
the moment. Huh?
coming up from the depths that we
Yes,
all
like
need
that.
to look into.
It's the death and rebirth. I was born, because I do astrocartography, I was born with a Pluto crossing the sun. So I feel it. So
Mhm.
it's like it's there. So it's like we getting, and today it's Pluto just went retrograde. So we're
Yeah.
getting the kiss, Plutonian kiss right now.
Yeah. So for me, it's like what has been happening in the first 4 months of your life of 2024. And Pluto is like, okay, let me appear like I'm going backwards. He's not. He appears like he's going backwards. He's like giving you just a little bit of a breath. May is actually a particularly sweet month, but he's like, okay, in this little in breath, you get to digest, you get to feel into all the lessons of the first 4 months of the year. Um, but then,
Then hold on to
like
your,
mid-May and onwards, yeah,
it's like hold on to your
Sure.
helmet, to your
yeah,
helmet.
yeah. And I do offer I have a crystal healing membership. I should say actually, because the crystal healing and inner child healing, like all of my work weaves together. There's EFT tapping in there too. But in there, I also offer monthly astrology reports that detail all the magical weather stuff that's happening
Yeah.
cosmically.
Beautiful.
Thank you so very much, Damla. I'm sure we can just sit here and chat
Yeah.
with you for another hour. And it's like so beautiful, and the depth and the richness and the yumminess, and but the love. Ooh.
Last our episode was about magic with other guests we had it, and I feel like it's a continuation of the magic.
Magic continues. And we're gonna add all of your information at the
Yeah.
bottom. So whoever is listening, please reach out for Turkish coffee read, for astrology, for anything, because it's just so beautiful. And listen to your inner calling, listen to your heart's desires, listen and take action. Now is the time to take action.
Thank you for being magical space holders. I feel like you have a very like feminine, loving energy for guiding the conversation. Thank you. I enjoyed
Yeah.
it.
Thank you. We really did enjoy that.
We really, oh, I'm still like, my heart is just going like, I can just go and play in the sand right now. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. If
Thank
you
you,
like,
Damla, for being
thank you,
here with
Damla, for
us.
being here with us. Please subscribe, leave a comment, and get in touch with Damla. So thank you, everyone. Many blessings. Till next time.
Till next time. Thank you.